Good evening, and welcome to the immortality question, progress or peril. Tonight, we delve into one of the most profound and potentially transformative pursuits in modern science, the quest to dramatically extend human lifespan, perhaps even indefinitely. Is the ambition to conquer death the ultimate expression of human ingenuity, a natural progression of medicine aimed at alleviating suffering? Or does it represent a dangerous overreach, a path laden with unforeseen ethical quandaries and societal upheaval? To explore this complex territory, we are joined by two distinguished guests. Dr. Kenji Tanaka, a leading geneticist at the forefront of radical life extension research, argues passionately for this scientific endeavor. And Professor Alia Khan, a social philosopher and ethicist specializing in the societal implications of technology, urges caution and critical reflection. We will begin with opening statements from each of our guests, followed by moderated discussion, and conclude with their closing thoughts. Dr. Tanaka, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I contend that the pursuit of significantly extended lifespans, even aspiring towards biological immortality, is not merely a scientific curiosity, but the logical and ethical continuation of medicine itself. For millennia, medicine has strived to combat disease, alleviate suffering, and push back the boundaries of death. What is aging, after all, but a complex syndrome of degenerative diseases? Conditions like heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, these are the pathologies of senescence. Targeting the fundamental mechanisms of aging aims to prevent or cure these afflictions wholesale, rather than tackling them piecemeal after they manifest. The scientific potential is no longer confined to science fiction. Fields such as cellular rejuvenation, where we can reprogram aged cells to a more youthful state, are showing remarkable promise in preclinical models. Advances in genetic therapies allow us to contemplate correcting predispositions to age-related decline, and nanotechnology offers pathways to intervene at the molecular level with unprecedented precision. We are steadily deciphering the complex biological symphony of aging, and with understanding comes the potential for intervention. Is it complex? Absolutely, but the trajectory of progress is undeniable. Consider the benefits. Imagine individuals retaining their health, vigor, and cognitive function for centuries. Think of the cumulative wisdom and experience that could be brought to bear on humanity's greatest challenges. Climate change, resource management, fundamental scientific discovery. We could undertake projects spanning generations, perhaps even achieving interstellar travel, ensuring the long-term survival of our species. Eliminating the tragedy of watching loved ones succumb to the slow decline of age-related diseases would be a monumental humanitarian achievement. Some frame this as playing God, but I see it differently. It's fulfilling the human imperative to understand, to improve, and to overcome limitations. It is about maximizing our potential and refusing to accept biological constraints that cause immense suffering. Our vision is a future where lifespan is not the ultimate barrier to human flourishing and achievement.
Thank you, Dr. Tanaka. Professor Khan, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. While Dr. Tanaka paints a compelling picture of scientific progress, I must inject a strong dose of ethical and societal realism. The pursuit of radical life extension, however technologically intriguing, is fraught with perils that could fundamentally destabilize human society and even challenge the very meaning of our existence. My primary concern lies with equity. Let us be unequivocally clear. Any breakthrough offering significant life extension will, initially, and perhaps permanently, be accessible only to the extremely wealthy and powerful. This wouldn't just exacerbate existing inequalities. It would create a biological schism in humanity, an immortal or vastly long-lived elite coexisting with mortals. Can we conceive of a more profound source of social unrest, resentment, and conflict? The ethical justification for diverting colossal resources towards this goal, while billions struggle with basic health care, poverty, and environmental crises, is deeply questionable. Furthermore, consider the societal ramifications. How would our social structures cope? Imagine the implications for family dynamics, inheritance laws, career progression, and pension systems if people lived for centuries. Would societies stagnate without the natural cycle of generational renewal, which brings fresh perspectives and challenges established norms? The potential for catastrophic overpopulation, leading to insurmountable resource depletion and environmental degradation, cannot be overstated, even with speculative technological fixes. Beyond the practicalities, we must confront the existential questions. Does a finite lifespan give life meaning, urgency, and value? Does mortality drive creativity, ambition, and our appreciation for the present moment? Would an endless existence lead not to utopia, but to pervasive ennui, apathy, and a profound loss of purpose? The desire to conquer death might be understandable, but it could represent a form of unchecked hubris, a technological pursuit that ignores the intricate web of social, ethical, and psychological factors that define the human condition. Our focus, I argue, should be on enhancing the quality, dignity, and equity of the lifespans we currently have, not chasing a potentially dystopian immortality.
Thank you both for those compelling opening statements. Let's move into our first round of discussion, focusing on feasibility and the fundamental desirability of this goal. Dr. Tanaka, Professor Khan raises the specter of this being technologically distant, perhaps even fantastical. How realistic is the timescale? And can we truly justify the immense investment required, given other pressing global needs? Professor Khan also questions the desirability itself. If we could overcome death, is it an absolute good?
Dr. Reed, the pace of discovery in biomedicine is accelerating exponentially. Look at the speed with which we sequence genomes, develop mRNA vaccines, or understand complex cellular pathways compared to just 2 decades ago. While predicting exact timelines is challenging, dismissing the potential based on current limitations ignores this trajectory. Many technologies we take for granted today were once considered fantasy. The investment is significant, yes, but consider the economic burden of age-related diseases, healthcare costs, lost productivity. Successfully tackling aging could yield unprecedented economic benefits, freeing up resources. As for desirability, the primary goal is eliminating the suffering caused by degenerative disease. Extending the health span, the period of healthy life, is the core objective. If that results in longer lifespans, is that inherently bad? Isn't it a fundamental human desire to avoid suffering and decay? The challenges are primarily engineering and societal adaptation problems, not insurmountable laws of nature.
Dr. Tanaka speaks of accelerating progress, but the complexity of the aging process across multiple biological systems is staggering. We are far from a comprehensive understanding, let alone safe and effective interventions for indefinite life extension. The engineering problems he refers to involve rewriting fundamental aspects of our biology, with countless possibilities for unintended consequences and new forms of suffering. Furthermore, the resource argument is problematic. The potential economic benefits are highly speculative and distant, whereas the immediate needs, clean water, basic health care, education, climate action, are concrete and urgent. Allocating vast sums to immortality research feels like a profound misallocation, driven by the fears and desires of a privileged few. And let's be precise about eliminating suffering. Are we certain that the life being extended indefinitely would be one of quality and meaning? Or could it become a different kind of prison?
This leads us directly into the societal consequences. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that significant life extension becomes feasible in the coming decades. Professor Khan, you've highlighted the risks of inequality and resource strain. How could societies realistically manage such a transition? What mechanisms could possibly ensure fairness? Dr. Tanaka, how do you respond to these fears of dystopian outcomes? How could equitable access be achieved? And what about the psychological impact Professor Khan alluded to? The potential for ennui or loss of meaning?
Frankly, Dr. Reed, I struggle to envisage any realistic mechanism for equitable distribution in our current global socio-political landscape. The historical precedent is clear. Transformative technologies initially benefit the privileged. The result would likely be a two-tiered society far more extreme than anything we've known, breeding instability and conflict on an unprecedented scale. Imagine the resource wars. The environmental pressure from potentially billions of near-immortal consumers. How could any governance structure cope? Furthermore, the erosion of values tied to our finite existence, ambition driven by limited time, the bittersweet appreciation of fleeting moments, the natural acceptance of succession, could fundamentally alter what it means to be human, potentially leading to widespread apathy or existential despair.
Professor Khan raises legitimate and profound challenges, and it would be naive to dismiss them. However, predicting societal collapse assumes humanity is incapable of adaptation and ethical evolution. We have faced transformative shifts before: the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, the digital age. Each brought disruption, but also new forms of governance, ethics, and societal organization. Regarding equity, one could envision international treaties and public funding models aimed at universal access, perhaps phased in over time, similar to how vaccines eventually become globally available, albeit imperfectly. Resource constraints might necessitate radical solutions, perhaps leveraging space resources or developing highly efficient closed-loop systems, challenges that extended lifespans might give us the time to solve. Psychologically, humans are remarkably adaptable. Perhaps new sources of meaning and purpose would emerge in vastly longer lives. It's a challenge, certainly, but not necessarily an insurmountable barrier to a desirable future.
We are nearing the end of our discussion time. I'd like to ask each of you for a brief closing statement, summarizing your core position. Dr. Tanaka, please begin.
The pursuit of radical life extension represents the pinnacle of medical progress. The potential to eradicate age-related suffering and unlock unprecedented human potential. The scientific pathways are becoming clearer, offering hope for a future where debilitating decline is not an inevitability. While the societal challenges articulated by Professor Khan are significant, they are not reasons to abandon the quest. They are problems to be solved. I believe in humanity's capacity for innovation, adaptation, and ethical growth. We should embrace the challenge, driven by the desire to alleviate suffering, and explore the full possibilities of human existence, unconstrained by our current biological limitations.
Thank you, Dr. Tanaka. Professor Khan, your closing thoughts?
The allure of immortality is powerful, but it blinds us to the profound and potentially catastrophic risks. The near certainty of creating insurmountable inequality, the immense strain on resources and social structures, and the potential erosion of meaning derived from our finite existence, represent dangers we ignore at our peril. Dr. Tanaka's optimism about societal adaptation seems dangerously complacent, given current global realities. Before embarking on this perilous path, wisdom and caution demand we prioritize improving the quality, equity, and sustainability of the lives we already have. Let us focus our ingenuity on present suffering, not on a future that may well be a dystopia of our own making.
Thank you, Professor Aliyah Khan and Dr. Kenji Tanaka, for this illuminating and deeply challenging discussion. You've presented us with a stark dichotomy: the relentless drive of scientific progress, aiming to transcend our biological limits, versus the crucial need for ethical foresight, societal consideration, and perhaps an acceptance of our natural finitude. The questions raised tonight about life, death, equity, and the very definition of human flourishing will undoubtedly continue to resonate as science progresses. Thank you for joining us on the Immortality Question. Good evening.